Hey everyone, I'm Joe Ferzoco.
And I'm Chris Ferzoco. We're going to be talking about market statistics today, looking at September of 2025 versus the August month of 2025 as well, Joe. And we're going to be looking at the overall value of property. We're going to look at the number of properties that came on the market, number of properties that sold. We will be discussing the sale price versus the list price, and we're actually going to talk about days on market as well, which we both were talking prior to the video starting, an interesting trend that we saw with days on market.
Absolutely, Chris. And of course, folks, if you like what you see here, like what you hear, and please make sure you subscribe below. Tap that bell for instant notifications. Of course, hit the like button. You'll be the first to get the most up-to-date market information. Of course, happenings down here at the Jersey Shore. We're doing September versus August, so we're starting to get into the the holiday season where things start to happen down here at the Jersey Shore. No, not that Jersey Shore, our Jersey Shore. Ventnor, Margate, Longport, Ocean City, Somers Point, Strathmere, Sea Isle, Stone Harbor, Avalon, North Wildwood, Wildwood Crest, West Wildwood, Cape May, North Cape May Courthouse, and Upper Township. All right, Chris, we're going to talk about September versus August 2025. Talk about it.
Yep, and we're going to start in Ocean City. And what we're going to look at here with Ocean City, we actually did see a significant increase. Actually, we jumped up 19.5% in Ocean City, went from $1,380,000 to $1,650,000. So pretty significant jump there when you think about that. I mean, 19% in the ever-changing markets that supposedly we're having. And we're going to be talking about that as well. When you look at the number of properties that sold, we actually saw a 12.5% increase in the month of September. We jumped from 55 to 62. So we had more properties selling in September. Remember, folks, when we do these videos, the sold is the properties that actually went to settlement. These are what closed. Okay, not what went under contract. These were all prior under contract already. This is when they've actually closed. So again, Ocean City had 62. That was a 12.5% jump. For the number of properties that came on the market, we went from 117 in August to 136. So another jump again in Ocean City at 16%. So right there, folks, across the board, Ocean City, positive numbers, stronger numbers across the board. As for the average sale price to list price, virtually, this actually had a 3% jump in September, and days on market virtually didn't even change. Now, moving down to Seattle City, some of the same story, right? So we actually had a jump to 2.28 from $1,860,000, so that's a 22.5% jump there. In Seattle, the number of properties that sold also increased 40%. We had 14 sell versus 10 in August. And in the number of properties that came on the market, we actually had another jump, whopping 66%, which is actually, don't go crazy, we went from 12 to 20. Okay, but still, it's a pretty significant jump when you think what number of properties that came on the market. Now, look, we both know, Joe standing here, yes, it's September, summer ends, more home comes on the market. But we're still looking at their positive trends. That means people are selling. Overall value, actually, we saw a 3% increase there. I flip-flopped my numbers, as a matter of fact. Actually, Ocean City, just to backtrack, had a 3% decrease. Seattle had the increase, 3% increase in Seattle City of sale price to list price. And again, days on market. Actually, we had a pretty significant drop. We went from 119 in August down to 106. So, I mean, still selling in that 3.5 month range. But I mean, again, Joe, across the board, in both of these shore towns that I just talked about here, we had increases across the board in regards to sale price, or values, actives and solds.
Sure, absolutely. And I would say the one thing, Chris, like with the days on market, it's something we kind of brought into the videos, earlier this year, just to kind of see, when you start hearing about market trends, what's going on in other parts of the country, things like that. So, we pulled our days on market numbers and started to add them into our videos. And I would say the one thing that we have seen, I would probably say probably since Memorial Day, June, is there's not really a big change there. We're sitting right around, for all the towns, and we do we cover about 9 towns in our videos, you're right around 100 days. Everything, someone might be 88, someone's 139, someone might be 99, someone's 115. So we're sitting right around 100 days when it comes to days on market for all properties in the towns that we're covering. So moving down the Parkway a little bit, let's go down into North Wildwood. So we're doing September versus August. Your average sale price jumped up 20%. $822,000 was your average sale price in North Wildwood for September. As far as the number of transactions, we had 21, identical to the month of August. And number of properties that came on the market, that jumped up 16%. 37 properties came on the market in the month of September. List price to sale price sticking right around 98, 97%. Of course, days on market almost identical. 101 in August, 102 in September. Pretty much the same. Wildwood, Wildwood was actually one of the few towns that we cover, Chris, that did see a decrease in the average sale price. It dropped 3%. Now, let's put that into context. Your average sale price in Wildwood for the month of September was $567,000, and in August, it was 586. So it was about a, I don't know, public education there, $20,000, $19,000 difference. So yes, it was a drop, but yeah, 3% seems big, but not necessarily. Our number of properties transactions that closed jumped up 19%. We had 21 closed in the month of September, and then a 39 property coming on the market in Wildwood, which was about a 15% increase when it came to the inventory levels for the town of Wildwood. Our days on market, 139 in September, 120 in August. So again, not really a big change there. And of course, your list price to sale price was sitting right around, again, 97%. Moving into the Crest, that's where we saw a little bit of a drop as well. This was the second town, 23% decrease. We went from 878,000, Chris, to 672,000 was your average sale price in the month of September. Number of properties that sold was 24. And of course, the number of properties came on the market was 22, which was pretty identical to August. So again, 24 closed, 22 come on. Not really a big increase in your inventory there. List price to sale price right around 98%. And your days on market was sitting right at 130 days on market. Sea Point Village, Diamond Beach area, average sale price was pretty much the same, 1.06 million in the month of September. It was 1.01 in the month of August. 4 transactions closed in the month of September. We had 4 in August, so no big difference there. 5 properties came on the market. We had 5 in August, so no change there at all when it comes to number of transactions and, of course, the number of listings that came on the market. Days on market, this was a big difference here. We had, days on market was 51 in September. It was 114 in August. Probably had a property hitting the market, 2, 3 hit the market, bang, bang, and they're under contract immediately. Again, it's an anomaly. It's your unicorn, so to speak. Cape May had a 36% increase in your average sale price to 1.36 in the month of August, which is fantastic in the month of September. 6 properties closed, which was pretty identical to the month of August. 13 properties hit the market, pretty identical to the month of August. So September, 13 properties hit in the market. 13 hit in August. Days on market was 134 days in Cape May. List price to sale price was sitting right around 93% in the month of September for Cape May. So that's the southern half of the county, Chris, and I think you want to jump offshore a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to jump offshore. We're going to take a look at Upper Township. We actually did have a decrease there in the overall value of properties. Dropped about 13.5%. We went from 639 to 552. Not uncommon in the primary home market this time of year. It just really just seems to be in the primary home market. It's up, down, up, down, up, down, down. Every month it's just the opposite. And so just that trend just continues there. Relatively holding value. Wouldn't shock me if next month we come in Upper Township and it's 639,000.
Right.
Up 13.5%.
Right.
So when you look at the number of properties that actually sold, the exact same, it was virtually the exact same number there. So no real change. We had 10 in September versus 9. Number of properties that came on the market was actually a 25% increase. We had 25 properties come on the market in September versus 20 that came on in August. And we actually had sale price to list price. We actually had virtually no change there, sitting right around 97.5%.
Sure.
And days on market, again, just about the same, right around 45 days in September, which is a little bit lower than it was actually in August. Now, for Summers Point actually saw a 22.5% decrease in the overall sale price. That actually went from 579 to 448. Again, if you go back and watch the videos that we have, that's been Summers Point's kind of MO. It's been up in the 500s, down in the 400s, up in 5, down in the 4s. So that's been pretty much a trend again in Summers Point. When you look at the number of properties that sold, we had a 40% increase. We had 10 in August. We went up to 14 in September. And then when you look at the actual number of actives, we actually had a 10.5% increase there. We went from 28 in August up to 31. Sale price to list price actually had a jump. We actually jumped up about 2% there to 99%. And days on market was actually pretty much the exact same. Virtually no difference in the days on market we're speaking of there, just about 43 days in Summers Point. So again, the values came down, but the actual number of homes that were coming on the market had increased, so there's going to be more inventory in the 2 primary home markets there.
Absolutely. And I think the one thing that we always notice, Chris, when we do the month to months, there's always that, there's that volatility as far as, 1 month it's like bam with the price increase, or bam with the drop, and then all of a sudden it's like, my God, the bottom fell out in the market. And then when we got to get into the semi-annual or the quarterly reviews of the numbers, that's when we start to see, just the little tweaks, the 7%, 9%, whether it's up or down. And again, you can say it's a 10% decrease or a 10% increase. most of the time it's only a few $1,000. It's a big percentage, but it's not really a big dollar amount. So those seem to be a little bit more focused in when it comes to, you don't have these big differences in the percentages when we do quarterly or, as I said, semi-annual or annual. So let's jump into North Cape May. So your average sale price in North Cape May was, here's one of those, up 36%. At $795,000 was your average sale price in September in North Cape May. Number of transactions that sold was 6, was pretty identical to the month of August. Number of properties that came on the market, that dropped 27%. We only had 8 properties come on the market in North Cape May in the month of September. List price to sale price was right around 99% for both months. And of course, your days on market was 93 in September, 99 in August. So no real switch there. In Cape May Courthouse, that was a 6% decrease. It went from 566,000 in the month of August to 530,000 in the month of September. Number of transactions jumped up 31%. We had 13 properties close. Inventory level is pretty much the same. We had 24 in September, 24 in August. Days on market, that was a little bit of a drop. It was 151 days on market in the month of August. It was only 100 in September. So, a little bit of movement there. But again, as we talked about in the beginning of this video, sometimes you got 88 days, 150. Everything pretty much balances out and averages out right around 100. And your list price to sale price was sitting right around 94%.
Sure.
So that's kind of, that's our month, September versus August. Chris, some changes, big changes, little changes. Again, it's that month to month that we kind of look at here for that.
Yeah, I think the only thing that really jumped out to me, that's really significant here at Joe's, when you're looking at the shore towns, all the chatter has been, the market's changing. It's, properties are sitting on the market, values are coming down. And yeah, there was a couple of towns where they came down, but the overwhelming majority values have gone up. And, you came right out of the summer, wham, 20% up, is about the average when you take a look at all the ups there. So it's like, okay, and the days on market hasn't moved.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, so if the concern becomes, if you're a buyer and you are riding this thing out because you're like, values are going to come down, careful.
Yeah.
Because you actually could end up spending more money waiting for interest rates where you could be getting in at lower prices today, ride the values up a little bit, and then when the interest rates change, that then push the market even higher, you can actually then refinance. And we're going to talk about that in the next couple of videos here further, when we start looking at even a wider window in comparison as to what the market is indicating to us. And quite honestly, it's not really much different from what I just said. So we're going to talk about that. But again, if you're a buyer, really, that's the big concern. If you're a buyer riding this thing out, you have to be very careful. Make sure you're reaching out to Joe and I to talk about your market specific. Don't rely on where you live at home to indicate what's going on. Don't rely on the national media to tell you what's going on, because that's not what's necessarily happening here. It's not indicative. So we need to be able to break down what it is that what you have here, and take a look at where the market is, the trends that we're seeing, so that you can make a logical decision there, an informative decision to make sure that you're going to, either on the selling side, maximize your dollar amount, or if you're on the buying side, let you know what's happening in the trends we're seeing here so that you're not overpaying or costing yourself money more than anything else.
Yeah, I think the overpaying becomes a matter of you're waiting.
You're waiting. You're overpaying.
Yeah, you're overpaying down the road, even down the road, because as you said, you're not gaining that equity as the months progress. Right. As we go into the third, we're going into the fourth quarter. Well, if you look at second quarter, the third quarter, like for the most part, there's always an uptick in the value. So you get yourself in there. And folks, whether it's this week, next week, a month from now, 6 months from now, or a year from now, please give us a call, shoot us a text. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, if you're looking to sell, as Chris said, we can sit down, go through a comparative market analysis for your specific area. So if you're in Ocean City, you're in North Wildwood, or the Crest, or Sea Isle, and depending on the blocks that you're in, we'll do a very specific market analysis for your property, get you going in the right direction when it comes to that and your price. And of course, if you're looking to purchase a property, let's get you in it. Let's get you going in the right direction when it comes to a property search, a very streamlined criteria, so that you're not missing out on any properties and you can get in there faster and stronger than anybody else, before these properties hit the market. So again, whether it's this week, 6 months from now, a year from now, give us a call, shoot us a text. We'll certainly help you out here at the Ferzoco Group. So he's Chris, I'm Joe. Till next time, we'll see you at the beach.